I've played the Stalker video game for more hours than I can count. So when they announced the board game, Instaback. And I'm happy to say it's every bit as good as I'd hoped. The tone, the tension, the decisions, it's all here in a pile of way too many boxes. All different sizes, different shapes. I get it why it has to be this way. You have to have the UPC code so we can sell them in retail. I wanted to figure out a way to get wave 1 and wave 2 in a storage solution vastly superior that supported the card sleeves that didn't require using this awful, ugly, boring generic box the way the official solution did. Okay, let's get started putting stuff in this box. It's a lot of stuff to get in here. Let's see what we got going on so far. These are mission boxes. They come with the game. A through B are in the core box. C and D are stretch goals, and then these here that say DF 1, 2, 3 are duty and freedom. And the idea behind them is they contain missions. You start off this way. It says you haven't done the mission, and you flip them over, and it says you have done the mission. And each of them have distinct art that's nowhere else in the game. So of course I want to try and preserve that because I'm kind of all about game art. I just love it to death, want more of it. So that's going to stay in the game. They contain cards, components, tokens. One of them has a tank in it. They're all varied, adds a lot of variety to the game. This is for the campaign players. So the first ones we're going to put in the box are some of these map tiles. So these are all map tiles, and these are small map tiles that fit in the box. And I'm going to show you something here in a minute. Off the bottom. In that goes. And then here we've got the companions. One of the things I like to do is have it so that the front of the mini is always facing forward, or this will make more sense when we see the Stalker minis. At the end here, we've got the tokens that are specific to each pet mini. This is the crow, the dog, and the face hugger, and whatever the heck else these things are. The mouse, the rat, are all in there. Everything is in a stackable box. So everything sort of stacks on top of each other, and you know you've got the right place once you are able to stack the box. So remember what I talked about duty and freedom? Here we've got duty and freedom trays. And then we've got some more minis. We've got the stretch goal minis, and we've got the core box minis. They can go in any order because everything can stack on top of everything else. So you don't have to really worry about it and think about it. But hey, where does this go in the box? Well, it's pretty easy to guess, but let's not guess. Let's just look. And so on the back of this box, on the bottom, it says freedom. I hope you can see that. If not, I'll take a picture and overlay it. And it also has a version number, and it says where to put it. In this case, it says B/C-1. Hey, we're playing a military game, so map coordinates seem like fair game. A, B, C, 1, 2, 3. So BC spans the BC column, and this is the 1. And these guys can go on top of each other. If you notice here, each of the minis has got a little triangle in the front, so that's how you know how to stick them in the tray. You know, figuring it out, you just stick them in there with a triangle in the front, and they'll just drop right in. So here are the stretch goal minis, which you can get out, and off you go. And again, everything is labeled on the back. So this one's going to say core box, Stalkers 4, and tells you where to put them. And that's the Stalkers. Those are the easy trays. Let's go to the hardest tray in the whole game. This was the hardest one to do. So personal stories comes in 2 boxes. We've got the wave 1 box and the wave 2 box, part 1 and part 2. And so there's a specific set of gear. There's 2 pieces of gear for each Stalker, and potentially tokens, potentially map pieces. I mean, it's incredibly variable. So how do we deal with that? Well, what we do is we have 2 different stacks for the different gear pieces. And I'm not going to show you too many of them because some of the people will view these things as spoilers, but you get the idea. You sort them by number and just keep track of them by number. These are cards that you get as rewards. These are all rewards from completing achievements as part of your personal stories. And these are tokens that you get. And so every given character is going to have a different mix of tokens and attachments or items, and then map pieces. I don't know how else to describe it. These all go here. Since these are awarded on a per character basis, and they're for the campaign only, at least as I understand it. I'm sure you could play with them in Zone Survival. The idea is you don't need this every time. And so my thought was, well, we'll build a tray for this, but we're going to make it so that you don't have to dig it out every time. And so we're just going to stick it right here in the corner. And it's almost as if it was destined to be there. Here are our Stalker buddies. And same sort of thing here. I keep the personal stories Stalker card next to the original Stalker card, either from the core game or from the stretch box. And underneath, the same sort of thing. I want to keep stuff together with other things that belong. These are rewards, again, that you earn for completing personal stories, achievements. And again, are Stalker specific. So what we have now is we have all of the personal story stuff and all of the Stalker stuff all right next to each other. The way I'm playing the game, because I'm playing a campaign game, I've chosen my Stalkers, and that's who the people I'm going to be. And so I don't dig in these boxes very often, and I don't need to get them out because I've already got my Stalkers, and I keep my Stalker card in the cache. So these two boxes stay in my core box when I'm playing the game. I don't really take them out very often. However, because these things are all stackable boxes, you can stack them in any order. So if you are a Zone Survival player, you need these cards a lot more frequently. You need them every time you play the game. So put it at the top. One thing you need for sure are monsters. Or enemies, to use the Stalker word. And again, it's the same basic idea. The control cards are here, which are relevant to some of the enemies, and then you've got the enemy team tokens here. And this is another advanced part of this whole piece, is rather than have to hunt down where everything goes and everything in the trays, every piece of the game has like components stored with like components. And so you need these during setup, you need those during setup, and you don't need them during gameplay. At least typically, unless you get one of these enemies out. But again, there's still information on the back. So we've got which team, that's where the tokens are. We've got the enemy cards here in the center, because that's the thing that covers the whole thing. And then we've got the control cards to remind you this is where the control cards go. And it goes in grid C3. Up here on the right, because 3D printing is always subject to change and evolve and respond to feedback, is a version number. So as people give me feedback on this idea, because I don't know if people are going to like this idea, I can change it and update it and add new features to respond to feedback and ideas. I've done this for other inserts. I added a save tray, for example, to the Dark Quarter insert I did, and people, as a result of someone's feedback, and people really liked it. We've got a tray here for the consequences cards. There's one for freedom as well. It's exactly the same. They're interchangeable. And when you're playing with these, great, you have them. When you're not playing with them, they stay buried in the box. So again, we have stackable boxes. So this is going to go on the bottom for now. The other thing is you end up choosing either duty or freedom. So one goes in one column, one goes in the other column. So we have some boxes for Zone Survival cards. We have the event deck, which is this whole pile here. We have setup cards. We have special cards. And in there are character and helper cards. All of that information is again on the bottom of the deck. And the idea here is these two card decks stay in the box if you're not playing Zone Survival. If you are playing Zone Survival, great. The card decks related to playing campaign which are your contract cards, and lost territories. Those can stay in the box. So we're going to put these here. They stack nicely on top of this box here, right in there. Let's keep going through our little stack here. So we're going to put our Zone Survival ones down at the bottom, just to show you that we can do these things in any order. And we've got our weapons deck. One thing to mention again, I love game art. I want it to show up. So I'm looking at monsters. We preserve the boxes here. When I do cutouts, I get as much of the game art visible as possible. You'll see the whole Freedom Consequence card is visible the whole time. This is the weapons cards 1, 2, and 3, and then Duty and Freedom are back here. As far for weapon specific cards for them, and it's all indicated on the bottom of the box. So that can go there. And then we can put Freedom here, stacks on top of that nicely. And then we can put, actually, we can just, just to sort of show you how these things go. We've got enemy wounds and we've got unique loot. And so we can put these here on top of those little trays, and then these things can go on top. And that's it. It just all stacks and it's all nice and even. We're going to end up with a whole flat level across the top. Anomalies, gotta have them, love them to death. Artifact tokens underneath, same basic idea. These fit sleeved cards and unsleeved cards. It's currently spec'd for the Awaken Realm sleeve cards, so they're premium sleeves that are a little bit larger, so it really should fit any premium sleeve deck of cards. Oh, let's do some standees. Standees are fun. So we've got a large tray for standees, similar to how the original game works. There's a big pile of, you just sort of stack them in there. There's a place for anomalies to stack. These need to be a little bit, you need to organize them a little bit. The lightning ones are a little tall, so you want to stick them in a stack on the bottom. That's really the fiddliest thing. Actually, this whole insert is dealing with the lightning tokens. The other tokens we have a bunch of tokens here for the survival gear. You're like, hey, well, how the heck am I going to get those things out? Well, don't you worry. There's a hole in the bottom of each of those things. And the idea here is medium tokens go in each of these pieces, and it's easy to get them out and easy to drop them back in. And it doesn't really matter which medium tokens you put on top of each other. You can see here I got lost territory markers on top of other markers, and I've got radiation tokens mixed in with fire. You just sort of push them out and get them out. Small tokens go over here for like rubble and stuff. Larger tokens go here, and I've got the money underneath. And there are all holes underneath to make it easy to get each of them out. And off we go. I have a little tray here for sitting on the table. You have bullets, bolts, and magazines. The idea here is it's just super easy to just reach out and grab. But it can sit on the table as a part of your game organization. And that just snaps right in there into that token tray. And again, everything's all fitting together as nicely as we can. So let's talk about some more game tray tokens. We've got pin down tokens, we've got some loot tokens, health tokens, all exposed tokens. That guy's going to go right here. And that can sit on your table and play. With the loot tokens, what I've been doing, and I don't know if this is the best idea, but this is what I do. I dump it out of this tray, flip them all over and shuffle them that way. You can also just pick them out of there and not look. However it works for you. And the next tray I'm going to show you is a player tray. So each player gets the same set of tokens. So let's take this tray apart for a second. We're going to ignore this little stack in the center, although that's kind of fun. Let's pick the green player. The green player gets that. They get this green alert token. They're going to get a visibility and a focus token that they end up using because Stalkers are the ones that get that. They get critical injuries. They have an anomaly containment piece. And then they have their turn trackers and then a green health cube. And each player gets these things from this little tray, and it's all separated and segregated just for them. That way they can find it and use it. We don't have to come up with a specific tray for each of these individual pieces because, I need this set of stuff to be able to play the game. Each character's got one. This is the alert token that came with the stretch goals. It fits right there. And we've got the lead Stalker token. And that guy's going to go right there. And on top of that, and everybody fits into this nice tray. And again, we love stacking, so we're just going to stick this right on top of this, and it stacks nicely. So, and because we love dice, we have a dice tray. And in the front here, we have the unknown tokens. Similar to the loot tokens, you need to take these out and search, dig through to find the correct token. And so that's easy enough to do because you can just sort of grab it and go. You just grab the whole thing and pull it right out. That goes right there. And it fits in between the monster tokens and the player tokens. And you can stack all of these things in any order you want. And again, the words are still on the bottom reminding me where to put stuff. So this says anomalies, activations. Reading is hard. And then it says B3. So we're in row B, and this is 3. And this just goes right there. We have a little brick here to have fun with stuff. It contains the armor, 1, 2, and 3, Duty and Freedom. I'm actually in the middle of playing the game, so some of my cards are actually not present in the box at the moment because it's in my stash. We'll cover that in a second. And we've got our attachments, 1 and 2. And easy enough to get to because there's a little divot here. And then we've got our artifacts. Again, my goal is to have the art be visible, but also have this be a nice, functional, compact, fit on your table without being a pile of cards everywhere, but I can reach out and grab the thing and use the thing. But I can flip it over and it says what goes on the bottom, where everything is, and off we go. And that snaps right in here on top of that guy. We've got an items deck with the idea being you just sort of pull items off the front. You can't peek and look at the back, so no peeking to see what's back there when you shuffle, and that fits right here in the center. And last but not least is our favorite random events. Again, game art front and center, and that fits right here. The way the books work is we want to have enough book in there to be able to hold the book in place. So we're going to use this book right here, and that's going to cover the whole game. The next level, there's just exactly enough space for either the stretch goals and mission guide and main mission guide for the campaign players, or the zone survival rules and scripts and map book. And so you can either put this here like that, or you can put this here like that. You know, whichever kind of player you are, whichever thing you're going to be doing next. I'm working through the campaign just because that happens to be what I picked first. And in we go. You do that, you get no lid lift, and there's enough pressure on all of those tokens and bits and bobs and everything else so that you don't need to worry about storing it vertically. Okay, let's get the map tiles, anomaly overlays, player dashboards, and Geiger counters put away. We have an anomaly map tile box or tray that holds them. The number 9 tile is the biggest one, so I put that one in on the bottom, and then the rest of them can just go in on top as a nice little stack. My goal is to make this as super easy to do as possible. If you want a precise, absolute guaranteed repeatable process, I include, you'll get a better looking version than this, but I include a list of exactly what tiles to lay in which order. But for the purposes of this video, because we've got a life to lead, we're just going to toss them in there. So we're going to put our square tiles in there. We're going to put our rectangular tiles in here, and we're going to put tile number 32, which is the largest rectangular tile. It's the only one of its kind, on top. So we have a nice flat surface. We're going to put these 3 tiles here, which are the 3 ones that don't have numbers, in the box in such a way that they don't overlap. So I flip them all to the dark side. And this is where you have a choice. You can just check the stuff in the box, and believe it or not, this is going to work. Your goal is to have it not overlap as much as possible, and within reason. You just sort of chuck this in any order. I'm just grabbing tiles. I have a whole stack of them over here off camera, and I'm just grabbing them and putting them on, and in we go. And what we'll end up with is we'll end up with a box that will take the original tray that held the player dashboards and Geiger counters and fit underneath there quite nicely. Stretch goals box goes right on the top. And no lid lift. And that was just pretty much random. If you really want an absolute precise strategy, I will give you one. It's included in the package. But there you go. For the Duty and Freedom box, we have a similar arrangement where we keep our rule books in it. I'll just walk you through a bunch of the different rule books that come with the game. We have the 2-player personal histories rule book. We have the Duty and Freedom mission guide with gameplay examples. My recharge pack is here. These are the achievements that you get with personal stories. This is wave 1 and wave 2, obviously, because the Duty and Freedom and the 2 personal stories. You put them in any order. There's plenty of room in this box. I have the zone survival and the map books here. These could just as very well have been the mission guides and from the stretch goals and from the core box, just because I happen to be going through the campaign first. And then we've got the stash. So the stash is actually, this was the hardest component to deal with because it's variable in width depending on the number of players you have, so it can get thicker. This thing here means it's at least 8 millimeters tall, and it's the full size of the box. So it fits nicely in here without any risk of it crushing any cards or anything like that. And in you go. And we have the Duty and Freedom box. Ta-da! And with that, we have all of the core gameplay from wave 1 and wave 2 in 3 boxes. This insert is for sale on Etsy and Cults 3D. Links in the description. Thank you very much.